the beginning of every academic year, a slew of new students from a wider range of different backgrounds are brought together to cohabitate the freshman dormitories of Harvard Yard. According to the Harvard Admissions Office, the student body becomes more and more diverse every year. For example, only 17.2% of students in the class of 2018 hail from the New England area, and last year, a record number of Latinx students were accepted to the college. With the intermeshing of diverse students from different backgrounds comes the introduction of a variety of distinct linguistic traditions into the same landscape. When students move to campus, many find that suddenly most people are not only from vastly different cultures, but that the student body's linguistic traditions are also different from their own personal traditions. These distinct dialectical characteristics can manifest themselves in different tonal accents, sentence structures, phrases, and even specific words. When students are presented with dialectical elements that are outside of their own norm, they are faced with two possibilities: to ignore those traditions or to incorporate them into their own linguistic toolbox. My final project seeks to probe the question of linguistic appropriation and disownment. My investigation will examine what traditions students adopt, what makes these traditions appealing to appropriate, and how the context of linguistic exchanges affects the probability of linguistic appropriation. How students' background influence their propensity to adopt other languages, and what this dialectical exchange does to shape the general etymological landscape of Harvard. This research will focus on Latinx students at Harvard. This includes international students, students who move to the United States from a Latinx home country, or students who themselves identify as Latinx. My research will manifest itself through two distinct approaches. The first approach will be statistical in nature, and the second approach will involve speaking to students to gain a deeper understanding of the numbers. The first component consists of a survey of 10 questions intended to establish whether or not students' dialectical repertoire has changed since getting into college. All of the respondents were Latinx students here at the college. The survey ran for a period of 2 weeks. After all the results came in, I used MarketSite, a statistical analysis software company, to generate crosstabs of data based on students' geographical location. Therefore, a side effect of my statistical analysis examines how students' linguistic experiences at Harvard differ based on where the students originate. The second component consists of speaking to Latinx students. In order to avoid conflicts of interest, I did not survey people I would consider a friend or a classmate. I reached out to students mainly through cultural groups and house/dorm email lists. Additionally, after the students completed the survey, they were given the option to be interviewed themselves. As of now, all of my statistical analysis has been done. Currently, I am in the second stage of research, having conversations with students. One interesting bump in the road that I have encountered is that many students who I have been speaking to have wondered if there was a possibility of remaining anonymous. While those interviews have been conducted, I promise to get back to them on the question of anonymity before publishing. Apart from the soon-to-be concluded research phase, I am beginning to enter the stage of analysis and synthesis. I am currently closely looking at the data and trying to piece together interviews and develop a nuanced narrative. Pierre Bourdieu's concept of competence frames much of the analysis that the research uncovers. In Language and Symbolic Power, Bourdieu makes the argument that competence is the ability to speak to the point in a manner that fits circumstance and objectives. It's an ability to use the right words, right grammar, register, tone, and so forth, in a manner that is viewed positively by the dominant social structure of the linguistic market. Bourdieu's ideas of competence will be used extensively to examine how linguistic traditions, foreign to one's own traditions, can exist as a way to reproduce Latinx perceived and or felt competence. Margaret E. Montoya's essay titled Máscaras, Trenzas y Greñas will be used to explain Latinx students' reasons for appropriating dialectical characteristics from the dominant linguistic market. She states that when we attempt to mask immutable characteristics of skin color, eye shape, or hair texture because they have historically been loathsome to the dominant culture, then the mask of acculturation can be experienced as self-hate, causing Latinx students to feel linguistically incompetent in the face of the dominant linguistic market. The perception that these students are, quote, on stage forces students to mask their true origins in an effort to join the dominant culture, inducing schizoid feelings of unbelonging. In my experience interviewing students, I have learned that many students feel the need to adopt linguistic elements in order to create a mask for themselves. In fact, one interviewee even referenced his use of proper English in the classroom as a way to mask its true hybridized form of Spanish English. Going forward, I hope to find more theoretical literature that may help guide and explain my research.